A teenage apprentice mechanic at Audi killed himself after bully colleagues burned his clothes and locked him in a cage, an inquest has heard. George Cheese, 18, was over the moon when he got the position at the car dealership, his parents said, but soon started coming home covered in bruises and had multiple holes burned into his clothes. A coroner heard that on one occasion, the young man said his colleagues had locked him in a cage at the garage by force, doused him in a flammable liquid and set fire to his clothes. His father, Keith Cheese, told the inquest that he would never forgive himself for missing the warning signs leading to his son's death. He said that his son had approached him and tried to start a conversation the day he killed himself, but he had not looked up, captivated by a pre-recorded golf tournament on the TV. George committed suicide on April 9, 2016, around 6 months after he started working for Audi. His father told the inquest that the evening before his death, George had been pacing around the house, saying, "I have to quit, I can't go back there," over and over again. Having told his son not to resign from his job and that things would get better, Mr. Cheese said he now realized how ridiculous this response was. George's mother, Purdy Cheese, said she had been aware of the decline in her son's mental health for several months and that she had been able to ensure he took his medication until the final few days of his life, when she had fallen ill. He had previously taken an overdose of his medication. She said that in the final months of his life, the verbal abuse from his colleagues had cut much deeper than his physical injuries, and she told the inquest in Reading, Berkshire, that he had arrived at work one morning and was greeted by his boss, who said, "Oh, so you are alive after all." As his mental illness became known around his workplace, his mother said comments such as, "Take your happy pills, George, you're going to need them," became a regular occurrence. When George complained to his boss about the abuse, she said the man had replied, "Those naughty boys, I have told them about this." The Berkshire coroner Peter Bedford was told that no action was taken after George reported the problem, and he had later told his mother that his boss had seen him the day he got locked in the cage and had reacted by laughing and walking away. On top of everything else, Mrs. Cheese said that George had been going through a rough time with his girlfriend, Chloe Skidmore Lewis, who he had been dating on and off for almost 2 years. George had enlisted to become an army mechanic in February 2014 but had to quit when he suffered stress fractures to both legs and applied for the job at the Audi dealership in the hope that he could still follow his dream. In a statement read by coroner, service manager Julie Adams of the Reading mental health team said that during a call following his first overdose, George had told her his employers could really take it too far sometimes, to the point when it actually got a bit dangerous. Miss Adams said he was worried that his girlfriend was going to leave him but would not speak about the failing relationship, as he claimed this made him prone to panic attacks and suicidal thoughts. Michelle Mbaiwa, who conducted a review into the Mental Health Trust's conduct after George's death, said that the 18-year-old was still waiting for his appointment with a counselor when he died. She said that 4 to 6 weeks waiting time was normal for a patient deemed by psychiatrists as at moderate risk, but believed this assessment should have been upgraded when George told of his previous suicide attempts. George's line manager, Simon Wright, who admitted to playing a number of pranks on George, told the inquest, "I was in the workshop when a prank was played on George and he was set on fire. It did not go too far. We knew where to draw the line," he said. It was not bullying. He said that several of the things he had done to George, such as locking him in the boot of a car and hosing him down with a pressure cleaner, were things most of the apprentices were subjected to, and that they would always be laughing at the end. The dealership's manager, Terry Candeliet, giving evidence at the inquest, told the coroner that some of the pranks were in response to George's behavior, such as being cheeky or lippy, but added that his personal makeup would not allow him to turn a blind eye to anything inappropriate. "I made it clear that George was important to the value of the dealership," he said. Mr. Kindeliat told the coroner that when George's parents had approached him to talk about the abuse, George had been sitting in a corner of the room with his head down and had later told him that he did not wish to make a formal complaint. Based on this, Mr. Kindeliat said he had concluded that George was making it up and said he would not have been surprised if the story was completely fabricated by the troubled individual. However, Mr. Kindeliat did not deny that he had witnessed George being locked in a cage and set on fire and had reacted by laughing and walking away, but he could not recall telling George's parents about this at the meeting. After George's death, the manager said they had worked hard to prevent future Audi apprentices from having a similar experience at their garage, as well as allowing employees to file weekly appraisal forms about their superiors. Mr. Kindeliat said they were organizing more team-building exercises and promoting communication in the workplace. The inquest continues.